Socialists assume full control of Norway. After winning the elections and forcing King Haakon VIII to abdicate, the Socialist Party of Norway has today ratified a new constitution which fully turns the country into a syndicalist state, just like France and Britain before them. Boo. You're done training. Let's have you lot facing this way for reasons. The Norwegian Socialist Republic has joined the Third Internationale. Boo. Construction 2. We are still too far ahead to get this. Although it is a year, we could basically get 1939 construction in early 38. You know what? Do it. It's worth it. Construction's awesome. And this also means that I can start actually getting the other industrial techs sooner rather than later. Standoff in America. A tense standoff has erupted in the United States as the elected president, Huey Long, fled to the city of Baton Rouge after being forcibly removed from his position by General Douglas MacArthur. From Baton Rouge, Long supporters declared MacArthur's government illegitimate. Oh man, I got there in time. Let's go and protect the airbase. There we go. Okay, Agricultural Protection Board is done, so let's go ahead and support Bofors so that we can get that extra military factory and also start working on our artillery, which I think is actually going to be our saving grace. Bofors is our go-to arms company, specialising in utilising our iron reserves for artillery and big guns. It'd be a good idea to partner with them some more. Big guns. Definitely should be getting an absolute bucket load of experience fighting off who you are. Oh dear. Let's see if I can go and help out here. Oh, for Pete's sake. You moved away, you idiots! Where are you going? Oh, you went to the... You took the port. Okay. You're kind of making our job saving you harder, though. Final sentence of the Sala gang. In the summer of last year, a gang led by a name called Sigvard Nilsen Thornemann, a name he added himself probably because it was an anagram of Manhunter, was arrested for murder. Soon after the investigations reached nationwide front news, it turned out the gang was not only guilty of murders dating all the way back to 1931, but also because it ran more or less like an occult group that went under the nickname of the Magic Circle. Court decision or relocate to prison. What did we choose last time? I don't remember what we chose last time. I think we respected the court's decision. Uphold the court was the previous. Okay, there we go. We'll take the airbase here, which will be nice. And there it is. The American Civil War has now begun. The Second American Civil War. To those not in the know, it might seem like the crisis in the United States came out of nowhere, but experts agree that this was a civil war years in the making. So we're going to go to you, we're going to send you volunteers. I thought I had already split a person out, but apparently I had not. That guy, I'll say with plain volunteers, but that's most likely going to be if one of the other two wars ends. We have enough equipment where I could probably train another 2 divisions. Let's get that going. Canada evokes the War Measures Act. The War Measures Act, legislation which grants the Canadian government sweeping powers to override civil liberties and ignore Parliament, has been passed in the Dominion of Canada and read out to the House of Commons by King Edward VIII. Having been enacted only once before in 1917 during the Welsh Creek, it has ostensibly been passed to deal with Canada's current war. Although most understand it to be primarily to deal with the massive unrest in Quebec. I was going to say, I don't think Canada's actually at war. So that's a bit of a questionable one there. The fall of New York City. Federal militias have been fighting sparse skirmishes with the Red Guard down the Hudson River. This morning, the Palisades, both natural and man-made, fell from the Syndicate hands. Not long after that, Manhattan Island was forced to capitulate rather than risk the massive loss of life that urban warfare would bring. Military coup in Japan. Reports from Tokyo for the past few weeks have been scarce, but it appears now the Japanese democracy is dead. After years of infighting, scandals and corruption amongst the political parties, radical restorationist officers launched a coup d'etat aiming to transform the country into an ultra-nationalist regime. Ultimately, it seems their efforts were for naught. Troops loyal to the government were able to launch a counter-coup and successfully crush the rebels. Yet this episode has shown that, without a doubt, the party's weakness. Japan has effectively transformed into a military dictatorship, with nationalism, corporatism and militarism as the guiding principles, which I think is, again, the same as last time. Into our artillery and upgraded guns. Let's get those into production right away. And let's do some upgrades. And we can now check out our industry where we can get the 1937 upgrades, which we actually didn't do last time because I waited longer to get the construction going. Give some assistance, see if we can create an opening. There we go, the Americans have arrived, so who are we going to assign as the commander here? I think last time we went with Linda. Winter Specialist Trickster. Yeah, let's do that. And then Field Marshal, but you don't actually have a Field Marshal. So, where do we want you fighting? Probably in here. I feel like this is where I sent you last time. And you did absolutely nothing. Meanwhile, Spanish buddies. Okay, now they're on the outskirts of Madrid. And they're in fact marching into Madrid. And not from the direction that we thought. Democracy prevails in the Philippines, having just achieved independence from the United States. The Philippines today face perhaps one of the most serious challenges a new country could face. Inspired by the combined syndicates of America and the Baratic Commune, disgruntled army officers marched on Manila to support the rebelling peasants and workers. And once again, you are not going there. Choo-choo! Neither are you. For some reason, our units are being really unresponsive. Panama Canal crisis. Finished in 1914, the Panama Canal is one of the most important trade passageways on the American continent, controlled by the United States until now. Even though I arrived by train, I actually had more organisation than they did. Hawaii has joined the Reichspakt. Last time they joined the Third International, I think. With the eruption of war in North America, the balance of power has suddenly and perhaps irrevocably changed. There will be consequences for this region and beyond. So we have a port in the Pacific. Right, where are those German tanks? I mean, actually, if you finish off the car lists, then we can focus on the CNTF-AI. That's not necessarily a bad thing. You're doing well. You have arrived. Can you attack them successfully? You can. And there we go, Beaufort's done. Tsardom restored. The Russian Republic, created in the last years of the Weltkrieg, appears to have only lasted 20 years before its end. Plagued by disorder, political agitation and ineffective governance in recent years, the Republic lost the support of the people, and the state news agencies now report that its successor to Nikolai II has been crowned Tsar of the Russians. How long will it last this time? So we could get Husqvarna Wapenfabriks Aktiebolag, which is the inventory equipment. Oh right, yes, Valor Norland get the industrial upgrade. That is quite nice, and this does lead to Military Production Act. Or we can do the oil shale, which would potentially get us oil. I mean, ultimately we're going to want them both. Oh, that's a research slot. Let's do that first. We should enhance our technology by forming a commission of scientists under the chairmanship of mathematician and Professor Arne Bøyring of the University of Uppsala. His knowledge of actually, no, let's get industry first. Let's do this, this, and then this. And then probably this. Husqvarna Wapenfabriks is a purely Swedish arms factory with a long history of producing weapons. We should support them so we can use their presence to our advantage. And the free guns will definitely not go amiss. We could go partial mobilization. War support's at 30, which is... oh no, 25 is the minimum. The alternative would be to get the Bofors, but we're not researching into artillery yet. So I think that mobilization will be the more efficient. Actually brought in an extra soldier down here. How are you doing on the other fronts? Losing against Serbia, holding against Romania. Okay. About to get a cutoff though. Boom. Let's make sure we kill this guy before he can reunite. Just keep the pressure on. The Second Internationale. The first Syndicalist Internationale, held in Paris, dealt with the spreading of the ideology overseas, supporting syndicalist movements and strengthening the ties between existing syndicalist nations, and thanks to the gathering success, the Second International has been called to be held in London. Representatives from the entire world were greeted by a British artillery salute, a Scottish bagpipe chorus, and an overall warm reception. How quaint. Come on, take him out, take him out, there we go. Right, so how best to achieve our objectives here? Probably to go into there, although we are in serious danger of being cut off. Alternatively, help him with the crossing if we can. No. Let's go to Arta with a plan to attack this. During the Austro-Hungarian Ausgleich of 1937, the Austrians promised the autonomous states of the empire that the minorities of Transleithiana would receive autonomy. The Hungarians, however, were unwilling to oblige with the dismantlement of their state and the privileges within the monarchy. Thank you, AI. My city now! Let's wait until you've got your planning prep. I think the same for you. Syndicalist revolutionaries in Switzerland. Chaotic reports are coming in from the small mountain republic of Switzerland, stating that Syndicalist revolutionaries have entered the capital of Bern. Switzerland has long had a problem with syndicalist activism in the western French-speaking regions of Haute-Savoie and Romandie, but never have they had revolutionary forces act so openly against the government. With the speed and the effectiveness of the revolutionary forces, many suspect the direct involvement of the French Commune, who have long agitated for the cessation of French-speaking land. Ooh, that's another cut-off potential. Take that spot. The 1937 Dutch elections. Ah, good. Same as last time. Despite the degeneration of domestic politics and the rise of the powerful left-list electoral bloc, the ruling CNA coalition was able to hold on to the recent elections, albeit with a weakened majority. Unwilling to countenance a coalition with the Liberals or with the right, the Conservative bloc has decided to govern alone. Which I think is a Reichsback-leaning Netherlands as well. Good. Xinjiang took one state. Kamal Khanate have been annexed. How are we doing in Sofia? Sophia's fine. For 2 decades, the Russian Empire is seen as a secondary power on the global stage. Dismantled after the Weltkrieg, it could no longer pose a threat to German political hegemony in Eastern Europe, nor to the Japanese ambitions in the Pacific. Since then, however, Russia has rebounded and once again lays down its ambitions. Russia is once again on the world stage. I do hope that they disassemble Russia in the same way as New World Order does. I think it would be fun for Kaiserreich. And if I remember correctly, the origins of Kaiserreich were from a warlordified Russia, which at some point they abandoned. One thing you, Spain, could be doing is setting up planning prep. As long as we can hold this line against the CNTF-AI while the German tanks keep on pushing up here, we have a pretty good chance of winning that. Brazil declared war on the Brazilian Republican Army, so this is the Brazilian Civil War as well. Rondon's revolt. Candido Rondon, a renowned and respected marshal of Brazil, has returned from one of his now usual expeditions deep into the jungles of northern Brazil. To his shock, the news of the integralist efforts to restore the monarchy kept coming, and he openly voiced his discontent as a devout Republican. The worried government in Rio de Janeiro ordered his arrest. However, the man's loyal military men refused the order, and he rose an open revolt in the north of the country. While the revolt is deep-rooted Republican origin, his support of the local strongmen is also speculated to come from traditionally powerful politicians who are losing power in the new integralist order of things. How can an old man be so stubborn? Alright, so let's encourage urbanization. 35 days. It is the 20th century and society as a whole is moving towards urbanization. It'd be great advantage to us to embrace this as well. Sweden is home to lots of agrarian societies. So Svealand becomes sprawling urban and Norrland becomes developed rural. Where is that even said? Urban region. 6 slots. Developing rural region +3. So it's developing to developed, I guess. So it was what, 6 and 3? Yeah. Let's see if we can push them back a bit more. Brazil declared war on Rio Grande do Sul and Sao Paulo. So the southern states are also rising up. And suddenly this looks like a rather bigger problem. If these three ever united, like their borders coming together, I'm assuming they're in the same war together. Yes. Mordred unguarded, guys. The Russian Empire declared war on the Donkuban Union. The Donkuban Union, a state created by the Cossacks with German support after the Kolchak Putsch in 1925, was widely expected to be Russia's first target since the Russian state began to recover from its economic and political instability. Okay, so my laundry is about ready to be thrown into the dryer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disappear for about 10 minutes. So get up, have a stretch, grab a drink, do what you got to do, and we shall resume again in, we'll say 10 minutes. I'll put up the timer. So 10 minutes, everyone, 10 minutes, and then we shall continue. Alright, I am back again. I know that Still 2 minutes to go. But I want to play some more. So we're going to just jump in again. Just returned to the US from Stockholm. It's been a great city. That's always weird that things don't open until 10 or 11 a.m. Does the typical workday start that late? No, but Swedes are very, very laid back when it comes to work-life balance. Life definitely takes the priority. But like, my workday is supposed to be 9 till 5, but I don't generally get in till 10, with an agreement that I work 5 hours over the weekend. Because of what I do, community management, like I have to be aware of the forums and Twitter and Facebook and all of that malarkey. And if something is going to blow up, it's very often on the weekend. And you can probably hear my kettle going in the background, so I do apologise for that. But let's just go ahead and jump back in again. Here we go. Whoosh. Peru-Bolivian Confederation declared war on Ecuador. South America's starting to blow up a little bit. Your attack is not seeming to succeed, so let's go ahead and stop you. You are being attacked here at the moment, so let's go ahead and jump in and see if we can assist and then get a counterattack going towards Charleston. Because this does look like a pretty nice position to try to hold out. And you guys just pushed up, so this is a very, very vulnerable spot right here. Especially once that guy is finished moving through. Okay, no, they are bringing in a lot of extra soldiers. Puerto Rico and the American Union states have ended the war. Puerto Rico is doing its own thing. Cool. Just seeing if there was anything else we could do. Create the LKAB. Sweden is home to a large expanse of steel reserves, with one company specialising to extract the Luossavaara, Kiinovara, Aktiabolag. Funding them would be a great way to increase our exports. So if we have excavation 1 for 70 days, then West Bothnia will start producing a whole bunch of different resources, including tungsten, which we could really do with if we're going to go with artillery. So top bar resources are in the wrong place. I do love how they've implemented this, it's pretty clever. Oh yeah, see, car lists are definitely being rolled back, so we just need to try to hold out at the moment against the CNT FAI and not get cut in half ourselves. Meanwhile, Serbia is really starting to push quite hard, and also Romania's across the river, so it's not looking amazing down there. Encourage urbanization, done. So we're going to go for the Military Production Act now. We should add some additional incentive to our industry to produce goods relative to defensive purposes and to equip our military with, rather than civilian trinkets with which we can do very little. Yes, those silly civilian trinkets. Push for Athens. I mean, I would love to, but there are still troops in the way. Did you successfully defend? You're being attacked here now. Okay. Colonial reform of Middle Africa. For years, the elaborate web of German colonies in Central Africa has proven an enigma to many outside observers. Public knowledge of the inner workings of this opaque heart of darkness has increased recently due to transparency and public relations drives by the reform group currently running the colony. So Goering is gone. Good riddance. And we can go ahead and deploy our 2 new guys, which can then be set to train. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and start training some more, because might as well. We have the guns for it. In fact, we have loads of guns. What are you short on? Guns. Ah. Okay, we didn't have quite so many. It just hadn't updated yet. And you need to be pushed out. In fact, stop. Support. So you don't actually leave. Tech slot. This was for the improved machine tools. We could go for oil storage and then upgrade our refineries. We could go 6 months ahead of time to get the computing machine. I think that's what I'm going to do. I feel like our technology is not amazing. Kind of like you to attack Lamia, if I'm being honest. The Chilean-Argentinian War. Tensions have been running high between the two regional powers for years now, as the ideological differences drove the nations further and further apart. Support by Chile for the FOP in Patagonia and the incapacity for Argentina to quell the rebellion have finally come to blows, as a joint offensive by the Argentinian army and armada was met by heavy resistance in the Rio Negro by Chilean forces, opening fire on the advancing Chilean troops. Meanwhile, Russia has declared Ronkiva, Bukhara, Turkestan, Alaj order. Do I particularly care about Argentina? National populist? Not really. Oh, you're also national populist. So Sao Paulo is the authoritarian Democrats. Are those all the same? No. Oh, that's Paraguay. So that's Republican Brazil. That's Integralist Brazil. That's Sao Paulo. That's Rio Grande do Sul. They all have their own focus trees. Wow. And then the Republicans are this. Well, it was Sao Paulo that we might want to support. I'm not going to cry for Argentina, no. Having troops here to try to jump Rio de Janeiro could be quite good for Sao Paulo. Although actually Integralist Brazil, if they restore the monarchy... Oh, unlocks decision, join the Entente.